Hello everybody, welcome back to another video review. Today I'll be reviewing the Denzel Washington movie, Equalizer. I said in my top 10 favorite movies that I haven't seen this yet. So I finally got it on Blu-ray, so I'm going to review it for you today. One thing I will say before I kick this off is that I rewatched Two Guns, and I forgot what I said about it in my review, but it's better the second time. I'll tell you that much about it right now. But on to the Equalizer. First, quick summarization of the plot. The plot is that Denzel Washington plays a guy named McCall, and he has a mysterious past, and then he starts helping troubled people through violent means. And how's the movie hold up? It's great. I liked it a lot. It's based on a TV show from the 80s, I think. I think The Equalizer was in the 80s. I never watched the show, okay, so I can't really compare to what it is, to how accurate it is to the show. Obviously, the character isn't the same. Denzel Washington is black, and you know, the guy in the show was white. At least I think he was. But anyways, moving on from that, The Equalizer, it's a really good movie. And this is why I hate movie critics. I'm going to tell you about this right now. This is a really good movie. It doesn't have a negative review score or anything like that on Rotten Tomatoes. It doesn't have something along that like a 40% or something that was actually legitimately entertaining, like 300, which also had which actually had a really low score. And I thought the new 300 movie, Rise of an Empire, was actually really entertaining. This has, I think, a 61%, and it deserves higher than that, way higher. And I know it's just calculated by what critics liked, what critics didn't like, but still, I don't know why critics were so harsh on this movie. I can't see it. It is a very entertaining film. It's a good movie. I really can't think of much wrong with it. I mean, it is a little bit long. It runs about 2 hours, which is kind of ridiculous, but it doesn't feel like it is two hours long. Denzel Washington is always great. He can ham in a performance and it'd still be phenomenal. I have yet to see a movie where Denzel Washington does a bad performance, and now someone's going to mention that Denzel Washington did a bad performance in Black movie, and then I'll reinstate saying, no, Denzel Washington can't do a bad performance because he's Denzel Washington. That's just how he is. That's like saying Morgan Freeman can do a bad performance. It's impossible for them to ever possibly do a performance that's poor. And what the previews did mislead about is that it was going to involve him and Chloe Grace Moretz's character a bit more. And it does, but it doesn't. That little segment of the story leads into what actually goes down in the movie. And it's a solid, entertaining thrill ride. If I would have seen this before I made my top 10, this probably would have knocked Snowpiercer off. It's not as good as everything else, but I think it would have knocked Snowpiercer off at least, because the thing about this one is, while it's basically a darker, slower version of John Wick. That's basically how I thought of it while I was watching it. And while it was darker, not as eccentric, and not as lighthearted as John Wick, and a lot more violent, it didn't anger me and depress me along the lines of Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer had me in a very angry mood. It made me feel very depressed while I was watching it. And even though this is a darker movie, I didn't get that feeling from it, because it felt like Denzel's character was in control of the situation. And I like that. I like that sometimes a dark movie can still do that, and it pulls it off really well. And I don't get why some reviewers just thought this movie wasn't that good. I can see why they may not call it a masterpiece or anything like that, but still not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. It's a good, solid action film. I recommend anyone see this. You have to see this movie. This is one of Denzel's most entertaining performances. This is one of my best. This is one of my favorite Denzel Washington movies now. I still think my favorite Denzel Washington movie would have to be Remember the Titans. Man on Fire also I liked a lot. I don't remember that much from John Q. And Glory was also really good. If you haven't seen Glory, then you're missing out. But The Equalizer has one of Denzel's best roles, and I cannot see a single flaw in this movie that actually stands out aside from being a little bit too long. And so that's why I'm saying right now, I don't get reviewers sometimes. This is a good movie. It is solid, it is entertaining, and my one buddy, Frank, on Facebook, when I posted about it, he said that he also liked it. So I don't get it. This is a good movie, so critics, they confuse me sometimes. And I'm also the guy who didn't like The Dark Knight at first, but who knows these days. So What do I give the Equalizer? I give it at least I give it a 4.5. Like I said, the wrong time is kind of ridiculous, but still, it's really good. It's really entertaining. Just rent it if you're not sure, because it is a good time. I recommend anybody see this. If you like movies along the lines of Dread or The Raid, like a darker, kind of grittier action movie, it's more along the lines of Dread because it is slower paced action and not so much fast paced eccentric action like The Raid. For this year, you got The Raid 2 for that. But still, definitely check it out. I highly recommend The Equalizer. It is a lot of fun, great performances, cool story, really brutal violence in it too. There's this one scene with the implied violence, and it was in the trailer, so I don't really have to give it away. It's, the guys robbing the Home Depot wannabe place, and Denzel goes after him. The scene's not in the movie of him actually attacking him, but it's implied that he does do something brutal to him. It's a bit more graphic in the movie than in the preview for obvious reasons, but this has some of the most brutal kills in the movie I've seen all year aside from The Raid. And it is, without a doubt, one of the most entertaining films you will see this year, no doubt in my mind. So definitely check out The Equalizer. Way better than what critics are saying. Don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes on this. Definitely see it. Catch you guys later.